Today's episode of The Mom Game is brought to you by our friends at Gateway Buick GMC at LBJ and Jupiter. I know that buying a car can be stressful, but not at Gateway because their slogan is Gateway's Got It. And just what does that mean? Well, it means Gateway's got a wide selection of new Buicks, GMCs, and GM certified used vehicles, all competitively priced. Gateway's Got It. In these busy times, you want a car dealer who makes things easy and convenient. Well, guess what? Gateway's got it. When you log on to gatewaybuickgmc.com, look for the Shop, Click, Drive button. This allows you to shop from the comfort of your home, and who doesn't want that? In fact, it's easy as 1, 2, 3. 1, select your vehicle. 2, create your offer. 3, schedule your delivery. And on top of all this, Gateway Buick GMC offers complimentary car washes for life. So when you want a dealer who has it all, Gateway's got it. You can find them online at gatewaybuickgmc.com or shop in person at LBJ in Jupiter. GMC, we are professional grade. Experience the new Buick. And welcome to episode 66 of The Mom Game. I'm Emily Jones. She is Julie Dobbs. And I am so excited to have in studio with us the defined dish, Alex Snodgrass. And Alex, I will say, Julie and I made like a list of people we wanted to have, like our what do you call it? Your like
a wish list of who we wanted to come on the show.
And I was like, she will not come on our show. Like, we are a shit show. She is not. She knows how to cook. We do not. Like, anyway, but we reached out and you responded and we got in touch, and you have people, which is also really cool to me. Like, you have someone who helps you schedule things. And I'm like,
yes, I would not. I'm a shit show. And very unorganized. Okay. So Katie is my lifeline.
Okay.
And also you have my husband to thank for me being here, because when I was like, hey, who are these girls reaching out to me? Because I don't really know. And he was like, oh my God, you have to go on that podcast.
Oh, yay. Tell him thank you.
Thank you to Clayton. It was Clayton, not Katie.
Thank you, Clayton.
Husband.
Okay, Clayton.
Big thank you to
That's a
Clayton.
big win for us.
He told me to tell you guys hello. And thanks to him, I got the scoop of who y'all are and like everything. So here I am.
So, well, we're so excited to have you. We're going to do so many fun things today. We have our big
went shopping.
We have a bag of charcuterie ingredients, so you can show us how to make a board.
The mystery meat bag.
The mystery meat bag. We have a couple of beautiful boards that were provided to us by
Urban Tree Merchants.
And they take trees.
Yes. They take trees that have been chopped down for whatever reason here in DFW, and they turn them into these beautiful pieces, whether it's a cutting board or a coffee table or like dresser drawers, anything. And they're absolutely gorgeous. So they were kind enough to donate some boards that we have given out, because throughout the week we've been promoting the show for the Charcuterie Board Challenge to see what kind of charcuterie boards our listeners could come up with before we have the expert on the show here today to show us how it's actually done. So we're going to have a lot of fun, like Emily said. But first, we just have to get to know you a little bit and hear a little bit about your story. Yeah. Because I think it's so cool how, I guess, the way of the world these days with social media and with Instagram, and how if somebody has something that's beneficial to somebody else, they can become famous from doing it. And what your specialty is cooking, right? So how did, I guess, this whole journey start for you?
Yeah, it's so crazy, because never in my wildest dreams did I ever foresee me being in the shoes that I'm in and having my cookbook and all these things. So it's been such a wild journey, but basically I've always loved cooking. I grew up in a small town where I was just like born and raised around home cooking, always took a big interest in it. But never really thought about, working in a restaurant or, running a restaurant or anything of that nature, or going to culinary school even. And then when I got to college, I really fell in love with cooking even more so, because I wasn't at home and we were eating out all the time, and I missed that act at the end of the day of just like chilling and having a home cooked meal.
Where'd you go to college?
I went to TCU.
Okay.
So
did my husband.
Yes. And so I started cooking recipes that I was familiar with. And then from there, I was like, I love this even more without my mom here. I'm really good at it. So I really started to play around. I felt like Ina Garten really taught me like the basics of cooking after my mom and my grandma. And then fast forward, after college, still wasn't doing anything in the food world. Blogs were kind of just starting to become something. And my husband and I had our first daughter. I kind of found myself at home, and I was just like confused about what was next. I got my real estate license. I was kind of trying all these different things for me that I thought were my journey. You know, I'm 25 at this time, I believe. And my sister actually originally had a Instagram account for fitness, and she wanted to turn it into a blog. And we had kind of decided, oh, I'm really good at cooking. You're really good at training. Let's do a sister duo blog called The Defined Dish and like start it off. So we had kicked it off, kind of sporadically posted on. It was really just a hobby for a couple years. And I grew to love it. And I was like, I want to make this my job. And at that point, she was kind of over it. And then I just ran with it. I rebranded my site, and I just got really consistent, and I went, full steam ahead, and The Defined Dish was born.
Yeah. And then you decided to write a cookbook.
Yes, that came later. And luckily, because of the way of the world and the internet nowadays, I got approached by a literary agent with an offer, and it was a great one. And I really, at this point, I was like, I want to do a cookbook. Like that's what's on my heart and what I really want to do. And so I did a cookbook.
So what is like the motive, like the inspiration? Is it like home cooking, Southern? Because it seems like your stuff, the stuff that and I will tell you, I am completely and totally intimidated by cooking. I am not a cook at all. And God bless my husband. His mother is like a quarter, some part Lebanese, makes like Lebanese food from scratch. She's a ridiculous cook. She's so good. And I tell him all the time, I'm like, honey, you knew what you were getting into. Like you knew you were marrying me, and I don't cook and I don't know how to, but I feel like every once in a while that sometimes he like wishes that he thinks I'm going to get the bug. Like
same with my husband.
During this all of a sudden be a
if
chef.
I'm ever going to get the bug, it's going to be after talking to you.
It might happen now.
That's my ultimate goal.
We'll do this.
During the pandemic, he was like, you know what would be fun? And I was like, what? And he was like, if you learned how to make homemade cornbread. And I was like, you can go F yourself. Like I can't think of anything worse than making homemade.
Out of all the things, that's what he wants.
Make homemade cornbread. And I was like, those yellow packets I get at the store and add an egg and a cup of water? Like, they make really good cornbread.
Hey, it is good.
So, so is it like, is it healthy? Is it home cooking? Is it a mix of both? Everything.
Like,
and that's what's great.
I love food. I'm obviously influenced by my upbringing and by my surroundings. So I have a lot of influence from my mom. She was half Italian, so she really gravitated towards that style of cooking. Then my grandmother was like, let's grab all the canned foods and put them in a casserole dish and make casseroles. And I love that style of cooking. I don't care what anybody says.
That is my kind of cooking.
Me too.
So I also grew up eating that style of comfort food. And then, of course, like being in Texas, we have so much Tex-Mex. So I'm really influenced by the spices and the big, bold flavors of Texas and the South. And so I feel like that influenced me. But then it wasn't until after I started my blog really that I kind of fell into the Whole30 world.
Okay.
And that was really just because I was struggling with postpartum anxiety. My sister had done it, and she recommended that I try the Whole30 because she found that it made her really clear-minded, and I just needed something. I was trying everything, and I was like, you know what, I'll give it a go. And it was just one of those things that when I started doing it, when you start doing a Whole30 or any sort of like reset program, you're like, okay, I'll just like grill chicken and eat broccoli. And I like food way too much to do it that way. And so to me, where there's a will, there's a way. I can always like find, especially with the Whole30, it's just taking real foods, wholesome ingredients, and making them wonderful by using spices and different sauces and all these things. So I was like, oh, I'm really good at making this kind of food taste good. And I don't feel like I'm deprived by it. I left the table as a kid like full, and like, I mean, we ate hearty foods, and like I never left like, oh, I had a salad and I'm like so satisfied. Like I want like to
substance,
my food. And so I think I kind of cross the path of like that comfort food mixed in with wholesome ingredients and a little bit of everything. So
it was just the blog for a while. When did you start to kind of see that? Because, I feel like I was so late to because I feel like I'm old, and you are both 10 years younger than me. But I mean, I was
she
late.
made just to say that every episode.
I know every episode. So, I mean, I was pretty late to like the social media game.
Yeah.
I remember like with Instagram. I remember going to dinner with a couple of my girlfriends, like, you're not on Instagram. And I was like, no, I don't want, then they're like, they created a account for me, which I still have the same name, which is Emily Jones 1977, which totally gives away my age, which I should totally change the name. But it was just like my email address. And so that's what my name generated. It was like an automatically generated name. So I feel like I'm so late to the, did it just like happen to where all of a sudden you had like 800 gazillion followers but there has to be a time because
it definitely was like a couple of things. I think it was one, I went in that after my sister left and after I was like, I want to make this my job. I'm spending a lot of time on it. I really love it. I feel like I at least need to try to make it my job. And I was really consistent. I was cranking out recipes. I was showing up every day. Also, Instagram stories came about. Before, I was just posting recipes. There was no person behind it. I wasn't really good at like posting pictures of myself and kind of bringing people into my lives through still images. But Instagram stories felt more authentic to me and more organic for me to share the behind the scenes, which really made people connect with me more. And so that was another aspect of it. And then from there, taking better photos of my food. Originally, my food looked like dog shit. I don't know if you can cuss on this.
You can cuss on this, honey. Trust me.
And I was like, I know they taste good, but like I need to refine that skill to be able to put my recipes out there for people to want to cook them. I'm like, people eat with their eyes. So I delved into the world of how do I take better pictures? Because I couldn't afford to like have a photographer or anything. And so it was just kind of a lot of different things in one to really kickstart. And then when people started making my recipes, not to toot my own horn, they're good and they loved them and they fell in love with my food. And so from there, I think the biggest thing that made me grow is word of mouth, and my community is they're so supportive of me and I'm so grateful for them, but they tell their friends like, hey, I made this recipe. Yeah. Food is one of those things that is so shareable and loved and like, it just brings everybody together. And so I really think it was really word of mouth after I put that work and effort into it, plus the Instagram stories. There's kind of a lot of little combo.
Yeah. Well, I think it's cool how you've started to show, what your kids are doing in every aspect of your life because people get to know you because of food, but then they like following along with your family. But a lot of this is busy moms that don't know what to cook.
Yes.
And busy moms that don't know this is my problem. I don't know what to feed myself. I don't know what to feed my kids. We like to eat different things. All of a sudden I want to. It's stressful. And then I don't have time. I got to run to work. And then I come home and all of a sudden it's dinner time and I haven't even thought about it. But the whole 30 part aspect of everything that you do, I think is interesting because that seems like something that is a diet, but it's actually hit home with a lot of people.
Yeah.
Funny story. I tried to do it like last week. I decided like that weekend, I was like, okay, I really want to do this whole 30 minutes. Maybe I can do it before Alex comes in and then I'll like have some experience to talk about. Had all these big plans, talked to my husband about it, and then like woke up Monday and didn't have anything and didn't.
You have to really plan.
Oh yeah, I was supposed to do that. And now it's Tuesday. I guess I'm not doing that. Maybe next month.
For sure.
But it seems like if you follow along with everything that you're doing, it's actually something that's really doable for people and even busy moms. Is that true? Is this something we can really do?
I mean, I think that definitely prioritizing that is an extra, it's a heavier lift. You have to really think about it on a Sunday or whatever day you choose to be like your day to kind of plan for the week. You have to definitely be a little bit more strategic about like, what am I feeding myself and my family this week rather than just like do it on a whim.
Yeah.
I think once you get into the cooking of Whole30, you can cook on a whim more easily. Mm-hmm. But I think to get your mind trained around like what you can and can't eat, the ingredients that you use, the products that you buy and what ingredients are in them, it's hard to just whip up an ingredient meal right off the cusp.
Right. But if you have the ingredients already there.
And like you'll know with time, like, okay, the Peterson Farms kielbasa is Whole30. I'll leave it in the freezer in case like I don't have anything, and I'll just saute it up with some Brussels sprouts or broccoli or whatever I have, and serve it with a sauce on the side or whatever. And you can have those quote unquote like emergency meals to turn to. But I think it does take doing a Whole30 and really overthinking it and like really meal planning for a month to get your head wrapped around that. And then you can afterwards it's more seamless. And afterwards you can incorporate the things that you feel good about. Like my family eats a lot of rice. On Whole30, you're not supposed to eat grains, but the Whole30 kind of just lets you take out those, more or less inflammatory foods that can cause inflammation out of your diet for 30 days. And then you reincorporate them in a way that feels right for you.
Yeah.
And that works for you and your lifestyle and your body. And, I realized I love beans. I still eat them, but I definitely get more bloated and don't feel as good when I eat them. So I definitely cut back on eating legumes, whereas grains don't bother me. And I kind
so you
of
can just make
realized
that swap out.
Yes. And so it's not 365 days a year. It's 30 days to really just kind of change your habits, change your mindset. And I noticed for me as a new mom, I just wasn't taking care of myself at all. And taking the time to do that for myself and my family, just like hit the reset button on so many things that I was like, when I do this, I feel better. I work out more. It just kind of was like this trickle effect. And I was like, I'm so much happier. I don't feel near as stressed. And it was a lot of things. It wasn't just the food. It was just the act of taking time for myself, I think, more than anything.
Well, and then too, you create, like, it changes your whole way of thinking. Like, right? Like the way you approach food and the decisions that you make and being armed with that knowledge.
For sure.
Right. And so you feel like, because I think people often look at like Whole30 or any other diet, like I can't be on a diet, but I also know I have a pretty good idea of
what makes you feel good.
Yes. And what makes me feel like shit. And so that's kind of part of that. And I think that doing the Whole30 does make you extremely aware of those things and heightens your senses to those, but it's not necessary. It can change your kind of like your eating lifestyle.
For sure. And I think it's really overwhelming at first, and kind of like back to the point that you're making, you're like, what do I feed my family? My kids don't like the same thing as I do. Like the stressors in the kitchen right now are way too high, where we've just realized, I think after the pandemic, especially, I realized the most valuable thing in our day is sitting around the dinner table and like having dinner together. And it kind of like hit me more than ever. I was like, this is one thing that like that I will put like as a top priority for my family forever. And I really think that's like where I'm kind of going with my blog. It's like, of course, there's all these things that you can take out of your diet to make yourself feel better, which I think is really important. I feel like I've had that change years ago, and I've just kind of made my pantry swaps, and now it's just kind of a lifestyle to me, and it's just part of the norm. But now it's like the art of cooking for your family and the art of sitting around the table is so valuable, and it's like just the best thing ever that you can do. And I just want to inspire people to just like realize that yes, it can be stressful, but it also can bring so much joy if you just take the time and doing it,
So your kids are, you said 8 and 5, 8 and 5. So 8 and 5 years old. And I know that just by following you on social media, like you do, incorporate them some.
Yes.
How do you balance that? Because I struggle with that too with my kids. Like I don't want to overexpose them.
Yes.
Like already Hattie's like, will you tell them to wish me a happy birthday on the ticket on Friday?
Oh, how cute.
And I'm like,
said that?
oh yeah. So I'm like, I will make it. And then this was just today. And she was like, cause we were listening to the ticket on the way to the pool. And she was like, I'm going to be famous just like you, Mom. And I'm like, oh shit. And I was like, no, and that doesn't make you famous. And Mommy's not really famous. It's a very relative term. And all this kind of stuff. She like doesn't care. She's like, I just want to hear my name on the radio.
For sure.
So how do you balance that? I mean, like if Hattie, like Henry is not into it. Like he loves my job, thinks it's cool that I cover baseball. But like Hattie is already into, like, would love it if I would let her have a TikTok.
How old is she again?
She'll be 8 on Friday.
Got it.
And so she's like fully into that. She's a ham. She's all that kind of stuff. So I don't want to overexpose her.
For sure.
All that kind of stuff. So how do you balance that?
I wish I had like a great answer for this, because I feel like the way that I shared my kids 3-4 years ago, when I first, like when Instagram stories first started out, I don't know the exact year, I'm just throwing out a number, is so different than the way I share right now. And just the way I share my personal life.
Yeah.
I mean, sharing before, I didn't overthink it. I felt like it wasn't like anything that I would get a lot of criticism over. And so that's like one element of just like myself sharing, that I'm just like, it's not worth it for me emotionally to just like say something wrong and tiptoe around all these things. And then on top of it, the kid thing, I'm like, I don't want to expose them to all this because it's just too much. So I, of course, like love my community. There's so many amazing people on the internet. So at the end of the day, I do love sharing my kids. I love to show them off, but I have reined back like times 100.
Yeah.
I mean, I really just share little glimpses of things that they do here and there. And maybe if they're helping me out in the kitchen, but other than that, like there's really not much more.
Isn't it crazy how crazy people are? Like, and and
it's a lot.
Well, it's so like for I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't. And I feel like with Julie's job, they're pretty loyal. I'm sure there are some people who come. I mean, people have been coming at me for 22 years.
Yeah.
And just like the shit people say, I'm like, why the fuck do you care about my hair? Like, why are you taking the time to tell me about my eyebrows? Like,
for sure.
all the
Everybody
things.
that's doing that though is jealous.
Right. Well,
That's
I mean,
kind of what it comes
It's a
to.
reflection of something that
are they
they're
on
going
your page?
through.
Right.
Yeah.
But so
100%.
like, what are, I'm curious, maybe I'm like, hey, misery loves company. Tell me how people criticize you. Like, because I'm surprised, like what, I mean, like
just
it
to
said,
get feedback
it
all
does
of a
seem
sudden.
like everyone, like you're very well loved. You're super relatable.
For sure. And for the most part, I get really amazing commentary and like people aren't like out to get me, but there's always like the few that you get. And they're just, again, being assholes. Like, hey, like I've been having the worst allergies in my life the past year and I've been trying to figure it out. Been going to ENTs. It's for another story. But long story short, like someone the other day was like, dear God, like take a decongestant or blow your nose. And I'm like,
Stop
I
it.
have literally been to the doctor so much behind the scenes and I'm so miserable right now. And you can go fuck off. I didn't even respond to them. And honestly, it was like a troll with zero followers,
That's
zero
always
anything.
what it is.
And I just blocked them because I'm just I'm like, you know what? People probably do notice that I'm completely stopped up and miserable right
cares?
now.
Everybody
but like,
is.
Dear God, I'm like actually sick and maybe I need to address it, but I didn't think I need to like, hey guys, I have allergies. I've been going to the ENT and my nose really hurts and I'm miserable right now. Like I didn't think to like tell people that.
Sorry about my voice.
So that's just like one random thing that I can relate to, but it's like, it could be anything under the sun.
you do
like,
have
I don't
to-
like that shirt on you.
Right.
That doesn't fit
Yes.
you right. I'm
Yep.
like, do you think that I put this on for you to
Right.
tell me that you like it or you don't like
But
it?
it is that we do live in that day and age where once you become, and it's like for me, like I went into this job knowing, I mean, when I was younger, I was like, Hattie, like I want to be famous. I want to be on TV, blah, blah, blah. I mean, anyone who gets into TV and says, I don't want to be recognized or famous, they're full of shit. I mean, you don't get into television. However, when you've been doing it for 20 years, then you're like, I would much rather not, like have that because you get the social anxiety, like all the shit that after 20 years, I'm like, fucking A, I just wish that I could do this job and not be a public figure sometimes.
For sure.
And so, but for someone like you who you didn't set out to be.
No, I didn't.
You know
And
what I
it's
mean?
Kind
And so
of
you
like
have
this
to-
weird new realm that
Yeah.
nobody knows. But it's like everyone always says, like it's part of the job. And like,
Right.
yes, it is. And I've gotten over that. And it's definitely been somewhere that I've grown as a human to not let those words affect my day, not to let them get me down earlier in the stages of like starting my brand and really like getting a bigger following and getting that criticism. There's obviously like some positive criticism that I've got in the way that I share things. And I'm like, oh, I could have been more sensitive in the way that I worded these things or blah, blah, blah. And there's some great learning to be done. But just the straight up assholes, I'm just like, they're not worth the emotional effort.
No.
And that's been something that I'm growing as a person. But some days you're just tired. And then you get one of those and you're just like, you told me I look like shit in this and I woke up not feeling very good about myself. And like, you just made it worse. Do you realize like how fucked up that is? And like, they're just sitting on a high horse and they see me living this happy life because Instagram is this experience that you get of seeing the highlights of people's life and not the down things, not about me going to the ENT, which maybe I need to share.
Yes. You need to start sharing your ENT videos,
But
please.
it's like, I mean, dear God, I just don't think that people like humanize people on Instagram or on TV sometimes and just like way overstep. And it's again, part of it, but it's like so annoying. And really, I'm like, I just don't want my kids to ever be those people. And I will not let them be those people. Like you just have to not criticize everything about everybody.
And that's what I've told Hattie. Like she'll be like, ask something about Instagram or even want to scroll through or something like that. And she's like, why can't I get on your phone? And I'm like, because people say mean things to mommy. And she's like, why would they say mean things to you? I'm like, because that's the way social media is. Like, that's why I won't.
Other story.
That's why I don't want you, I mean, granted, she's 8. She has no business being on any form of social media. But I'm like, that's why we're going to have those conversations when it happens because it's a weird effing place.
For sure.
And
it's like recently the girls are really into Disney people, of course. And like Olivia Rodrigo had drama with her boyfriend. I don't know if y'all know these people, But it's like,
sure had
Sutton's like hearing about it at school and she's making speculations about who was wrong. And I'm like, honey, you do not know these people. No. Like, take a step back. Do not get so invested in people that you don't know and like speculate on their lives. Like, because I think I am in the public eye, I can squash that shit so fast.
Right.
But I hope that like moms listening can do that at home too, because it's a little thing like that. These huge young celebrities that are in these like weird scenarios, and telling your kids, do not get invested in that shit, because that is the rabbit hole down to them to start to, I think right now on social media, it's this gang up bully mentality or a coward mentality. And like, it's just like these two different sides of things. And it's like, how do we raise our kids to not treat people that way online?
It's a good way to teach them how not to be. And I think the block button is a beautiful thing. And also on Instagram, how you can just delete comments. It's like, I don't like that one. I don't like that one. I'm just going to move on.
It's like still the wild, wild west. And we're just like all really figuring it out. Sure. And hopefully we can teach our kids how to be better consumers and users of social media based off the things that we're learning today. And
it is a double-edged sword, but I think we can all agree like the benefits outweigh the negative.
It's part of it.
Like you've made a career of it, which is awesome.
For sure.
That people
I'm
care
so proud
is
of what I do, and I love what I do. And of course, it has some downfalls, but like overall, I'm so happy.
Like, no big deal.
It's just a learning curve, but so we can go on that rant forever.
Yeah, I know. I didn't know we were gonna have a social media breakdown, but I'm glad we had it. So I want to talk about the cookbook and where were you when you found out that like you were a New York Times bestseller?
Oh my gosh, that was
Did you shit
a
your
moment
pants?
that I'll never forget. I screamed to the top of my lungs and scared the shit out of my kids. So we were in the
So
middle.
when did the book come out?
It came out January of 20. No wait.
It couldn't have been the 19th.
December of 2019.
December
so
of 2019.
it's pretty much January 2020.
Okay.
So it's been out for a little over a year.
Okay.
Or like a year and a half.
Okay.
Where are we? We're in June. So about a year and a half. But I was living in an apartment because we were remodeling our house. And my editor had basically prepped me that I was not going to make the New York Times list because a lot of her reasons. It's so hard and so political. And it's like nobody knows how it all works, but it's like, he's like, based off of what we know, you're probably not going to get on it. I was like, oh, darn, I didn't really expect it, but that would be cool. Mm-hmm. And then I got an email a couple of days later, the day that I got on the list. I think they come out every Wednesday, but I could be wrong with that. And it just said on the email title, you made the New York Times bestseller list. And I was screaming bloody murder, jumping up and down. And my kids are like, what's wrong? What's happening? I'm like, Mommy's a New York Times bestseller. My husband was at home and they're like, screaming up and down and jumping with me. They have no clue what I'm talking about. They don't know what the New York Times list
so
is.
Sweet like that. They're just like, oh,
this is a big deal.
You're so happy.
Celebrate with me. And they're like, yay, what are we doing? So it was one of those moments that I mean, it's definitely one of my proudest accomplishments and super exciting.
As it should be.
Day.
So it came out in January 2020. When did you find out?
Like the week, it's usually the week of that it comes out. If you don't make it the week of, it's really hard to like come back because you sell all your pre-orders in a week.
Okay.
So I was on the New York Times list, I think for 2 weeks. And after that, it like kind of falls down. So
I didn't know that's the way it worked.
Yeah. So pre-order books, people.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no kidding.
So I want to talk more about, because while I have you here, I do need help. And I think a lot of people do. Like we need like coaching. Like how can we be better?
No more social media rants. Let's talk about food.
Let's talk about food because that's why you have the social media following.
Don't be assholes. Let's talk about food.
Exactly.
Yeah, and don't raise your kids to be assholes.
Exactly. Moral of the story. Yes. And also while you're raising them not to be assholes, maybe you can feed them well too. So there's some tips that we can get. So I'm wondering how you handle the mom and the kid food aspect of it. Do you try to feed your kids what you're eating? Do you try to make them eat healthy? Do they love everything that you cook? How does that work?
Yes. And I think when people are like, oh, I don't feed my kids 2 meals, like I'm like, come on, like we all do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I do try to incorporate as much as possible, but I do like things hot and spicy, and like I eat things that my kids aren't going to touch right now. Mm-hmm. So it just really depends on what I'm making. And if I am making something that's really hot and spicy, I will have some chicken nuggets in the freezer or like an Applegate hot dog, and I'll slice that up with like some broccoli or whatever. And I'll dissect it and give them like the ultimate kids meal and just be pretty basic about it. And I do that a couple nights a week, actually. But other than that, like if I'm making a salad with like lamb meatballs on top, I know they're not going to eat the salad because it's like arugula based. Excuse me. And
Go to the NT. I'm just kidding. You're so congested.
Decongested. I took Polenti, by the way. I'm decongested up. But what was I saying? Oh, I will give them the lamb meatballs and then I'll kind of dissect it. Whatever's on top of the salad that I know they'll eat vegetable wise, like whether it be diced carrots or, whatever, I'll do that. And then I always add like a grain or a carb to their plate. So whether it be potatoes, because that's Whole30 compliant. I eat a lot of potatoes in my house, or a bag of steamed rice from Trader Joe's. Like they'll get something like that too. So I will give them a deconstructed version of my dish, unless I'm making a total family crowd pleaser that's like we all eat, which those I try to do at least 3 times a week to save my energy in the kitchen.
Okay. So what's a lame meat? Is it a lame meatball?
Lamb.
Oh, lamb. I was like, what's a lame meatball? I'm sure I've made some of those lame meatballs.
We will not have any more lame meatballs in your kitchen.
Meatball. Where do you get lamb meat?
Everywhere for the most part. And it is so good.
Emily.
I've had a lamb chop.
It's easily accessible.
It's easily accessible.
Okay.
It is so much more flavorful than ground beef. It gives a different flavor and it's super delicious.
Okay. All right. I'm adding lamb.
I'm going to send you a recipe.
You
after
need
this.
to send. You're going to send. I need you. I just want you. If I ever got so rich, that's the first thing I would do is like hire a chef. Like
I don't blame you. That's a great luxury right there.
Like
For sure.
like before anything else.
Yeah.
Before anything else. Before a trainer. Before. It would be
It'd be
come
amazing.
and cook me the food and make it good and make it relatively
it would
healthy.
be lovely to come home to that every
It
day.
would be.
That's why restaurants are so great.
Yeah, this is true. This is
So
true.
you just mentioned, so you said there's 3 kind of go-to for the family crowd pleasers.
You want to know
tell
some of
us
my top
what
faves?
those are?
Okay, so my kids would say the Whole30 chicken and broccoli, Sloppy Jane's.
These are all like in your cookbook or on your blog?
On my blog. In the cookbook, the grain-free chicken parmesan, that's Sutton's fave. She loves the tomato basil soup. The enchiladas are fantastic. The steak street tacos are great from the book as well. The Whole30 chicken fried steak with cauliflower gravy.
Nice.
All us Southerners.
Cauliflower is pretty good.
Very
and you
versatile.
can substitute it for a
You
lot
gotta
of
try
things.
this gravy. You'll be impressed with it.
And that's what's so cool about it. You don't know these things till you try. Like
It makes everything creamy and delicious.
and I grew up like you. Like it was always casseroles, and like my mom's
good.
the thing my mom makes that we love is chicken spaghetti.
I
just
love chicken
good
spaghetti.
stuff. But then after I had my second baby, I found out that I was celiac. Like whatever changed in here, to where I couldn't have,
No more chicken
couldn't
spaghetti.
have wheat, no more chicken spaghetti, no more pasta, like no more bread on a hamburger, tortillas, all these things that I love.
For
and
sure.
it's like,
Well, you're kind of already on your way to eating
exactly.
Whole30
And
paleo.
now it's like, exactly. And that's kind of what's forced me to try to figure all this out. And then you think you have it figured out. And then all of a sudden it's like, well, maybe dairy's causing, maybe it's my coffee creamer every day because I've cut out gluten and I'm still like feeling bad,
For sure.
So I feel like that a lot of people, for whatever reason, once you hit a certain age, like 30, it's like you've got to start cutting stuff out and things are making you sick. Okay, so I've written down some of those for your favorites for your family.
Yes.
What about when you go to the grocery store? Are there certain things that you just know are always going to be on your list? And what are those things?
Not really.
How do you handle the whole grocery
I
shopping?
go to the grocery store so much, you guys.
Do you
have
go like
no
every
idea.
day?
Not every day, but I go multiple times a week. And
Where do you go? Like Central Market?
I love the act of grocery shopping.
Yeah.
Like it's part of my job. It's part of the things that I love in life. It's why I do what I do. But I go everywhere.
Yeah.
Like I go to anywhere from like Sprouts, Natural Grocers, and Aldi to Central Market obviously is fantastic. I love Trader Joe's and I love Whole Foods. Those are probably like the ones that I frequent the most. I'm really close to Natural Grocers and Whole Foods. So those are like my go-to through the week for sure because they're right down the street for me.
Are there any particular brands that I heard you mention Applegate?
Yeah.
Are there any brands that you're pretty, like you feel like are pretty safe?
Yeah, Applegate has a lot of great products. I also like Primal Kitchen for like sauces and ketchups, like sugars and everything. When you do a Whole30, you realize that sugar's in everything and it doesn't need to be. So you can buy their products like mustards and ketchups and all these condiments without sugar added to them.
Okay.
And that's a really great product or a great line too.
Okay, so you're obviously very good at cooking and you know all about that. What about when you go to have a cocktail? What are your favorite things? And
Oh my gosh, I love cocktails too.
Do you make them all yourself? I
make a lot.
I heard your husband has a good margarita.
My
Someone was like,
husband is
ask her about her husband's margarita.
You know, even before I started my blog, my husband and I loved entertaining and I loved cooking. We were that couple for our friends.
Which is awesome.
Yeah,
I would love to be that couple.
Yeah, we're the cool couple.
I'm the fun couple. I'm the fun one to invite. Like I'll come, I'll bring some dips and I'll get drunk at your party.
Yeah. You're the fun
I'll
guest.
host you.
I'm going to have you over then.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm happy to have you. I don't know if my shit's going to be good, but I'll have plenty of alcohol. Like my presentation might not be the best, but yeah.
No, but he was always like, he got into making cocktails. You know, I told y'all before we were on air, like we had our first daughter really young. And so we were like, please come hang out with us. We'll cook dinner for you and make cocktails.
It's
and
so
we have
much
great
easier when
music.
people are at your house.
Come.
Yes.
We don't need to hire a babysitter. Like, come hang out with us. And so we, even more so than we already were after we had Sutton, we're doing that. And Clayton got really into making cocktails. And so his margarita on the blog, Clayton's Margarita, you can Google it, it'll pop up, is one of the most popular recipes on
Clayton's Margarita.
It pops up. Yes, Clayton's very proud of that. Don't get him started. Don't have him on your podcast.
We have so much to thank him for. He got you on the show, and now
you have to make his margaritas this weekend. They're so good.
Okay,
and there's some other good ones too. But I would say a margarita is my fave.
Just like a straight up margarita. Do you do the ranch water thing?
That's margarita. Of course I do the ranch water thing. Actually, I invested in a company that makes canned ranch waters.
Oh, really? We can give
Ranch
them a plug.
Rider Spirits.
Ranch Rider Spirits.
Plug.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, absolutely. Honey, plug all you want.
Yeah.
Remember the shout out conversation
It's so good.
Jay
It's
had
an
with you?
actual, real tequila cocktail. It's not a malt liquor, y'all. You got to try it.
Oh, I will.
Ranch Rider Spirits, all over Texas. They're based out of Austin.
Oh, very
And
cool.
I was making ranch waters during COVID, and people were like, you should try this. And I tried it, and it was one of those things where I was like, oh my gosh, I wish I would have thought of this. There was a couple of brands that I had tried to invest in the past, but like missed the mark. And so I was like, when they reached out to partner, I was like, actually, can I invest because I want to be part of this?
That's awesome. You're like,
really
heck
excited
yeah.
about it. Yes.
I believe in this.
Speaking of plugs, I need to give you some. Have you tried Scout and Cellar wine?
Is that what I'm drinking?
Yes.
It's delicious.
And no added sugar. So no added sugars.
Yes. I need to get some more.
Trust me.
Yeah,
I will
Im's
get you
your
some.
girl for that.
I will
They're
get
delicious.
you some. Trust me.
Okay, so if you are invited to a dinner party, though, what's your go-to thing that you like to bring?
Wait, first of all, do you find that
people freak out? It makes me so mad. I'm like, invite me over.
I will like.
What do you mean?
I mean, if I'm going to be like, oh my God, Alex Snodgrass is coming to our house. Get your shit together, everybody. You know what I mean? Like I'd probably hire someone. Like, no, I wouldn't.
Like they feel like they just need to be on
shove
point.
drinks in your face
for sure. Other than like my really close friends, I feel like people are really intimidated to invite me over for dinner, and I'm like, I'm fine. Like I'll literally eat a dry hot dog. Like just have me over.
Okay, I'll invite you.
Like I'm not judging you.
Yeah.
So what do you like to bring though? Do you have a go-to? Because I always get caught in that. Like I said, I'm never prepared, and it's always a last minute thing. And it's like Saturday at 4, and I realize someone invited us over and was so kind to invite us over. They're doing this big dinner at 5, and I'm like,
just bring an app.
Yeah,
they're like,
I'm
just
wondering
bring an
what
app.
the expert brings.
Yes, I think you either bring an appetizer, which I think I'm trying to think of some that are on my blog and not in a project that I'm working on right now. That I've been making a lot lately, but I will make a dip or, bring some guacamole and some Siete food chips or make my Siete foods.
Is that a
I've
brand?
heard
Oh my gosh,
them.
another
I've heard
plug.
of them. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you Texans need to
I'm
get
always
it
looking
together.
for the perfect
I've heard
tortilla
of them.
chip.
Where are they?
It would be perfect for you for Celia. And it's grain free. It's made with cassava flour. They're tortilla chips, tortillas. Their cassava tortillas are my favorite.
Go-tos,
so you can make enchiladas and like enchilada casseroles.
Yes, somebody
casserole
was telling me about them just recently.
Yeah,
I forgot who it was.
I use them.
I didn't know about them.
Yeah. That's a brand
thought I
that I
was a
wish
chip
I would have
expert.
invested in, but I way missed that mark. They're huge now. But they're incredible, and they're based out of Austin as well.
A lot of
Austin
good things
has all
come
the good
from
stuff.
Austin.
Yes, and so I'll like bring something of that nature. I'll bring like some chips and dip, or make some homemade hummus and some pita and like something like that.
I don't even know. Like, what is hummus even made out of?
Chickpeas and tahini.
I thought it was made in the store in the container.
For sure. So things like that. And I'll bring that over for a little snack. Or I love making a charcuterie board and then making with it my mom's, it's called the Cilio celery salad on my blog. It's a family staple. My mom, I told you earlier that she's Italian. It was always at the table with meats and cheeses at every function of her family's. Her maiden name, Cilio, hence the name.
Love
Cilio,
it.
celery salad.
Yeah.
Cute.
It's so good.
That's great. It seems like you have a lot of family
history. And then I think
history
you can
with
bring
all
a
this.
dessert. If someone's like, no, don't bring anything.
You always bring something,
Bring
right?
a bottle of tequila or a bottle of wine.
Yes.
Are we right? Even when they say don't bring anything, like you
Yes,
always bring
bring something.
And dessert's a good one.
Or
that maybe they
bring
haven't thought
a sweet
about.
treat. Yeah. I have some really good paleo chocolate chip cookies on my blog that I just recently posted. And those right now are my go-to. And I can bring them like in the cookie dough ball shaped, and then I'll bake them fresh because they only take 8 minutes.
Oh, wow.
And they're warm, and everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, these are paleo!" And I'm like,
And then
"Yeah, they're the
it's
best."
just so much more impressive when you're like, I got to throw these in the oven for
Yes.
8 minutes instead
Yeah.
of
Can you like preheat the oven for me? I'm about to throw some cookies.
just gotta go to work a little bit because I really love you all so much.
I've got
That's how
some
much I
homemade
care.
cookies
They think
to
you're
pop
so
in the oven.
impressive.
Yes, exactly. Okay,
good trick.
Em, should we start our
Let's do it.
charcuterie board?
Oh my gosh, let's see what's in the
Because
magic bag.
we thought this would
Okay.
be fun to try and make a charcuterie board. I know.
This
And
is fun. I like that we're
Katie's-
doing this.
Katie
It
did-
shakes things up a
I
bit.
know. I
Yes.
asked her, I was like, Katie, right?
Yes.
I was like, send me ask Alex what I should get. We're going to make a charcuterie board. And so she sent me a list. So here,
Things that I might like.
here's my stuff. So
Okay.
I got
Katie knows. Okay.
macro,
This is one of my favorite things to get.
Okay.
Did you get this from Trader Joe's?
Whole Foods.
Okay, they also have something similar, if not.
if you want to
the exact
pass
same
to me,
thing.
I can open while you keep digging through.
Oh,
Okay,
good
but,
idea.
Be efficient.
or we could show, but I think she was wanting to show what it is.
Yeah,
Jules.
so this is a Italian selection of meats. So there's capicola, there's calabrese, and then there's prosciutto in here. And so you get a little bit of everything. Really nice.
Which I had never heard. I heard of prosciutto, but I've never heard of the other two.
Me either.
Yes, those are great. Okay, in here we also have a cherry spread.
Oh
which
shit! I
a
thought it was
good-
fig.
It doesn't matter. Any sort of like fruit jam, fig jam,
Okay.
whatever.
Okay. I was going
you know
for
what?
fig.
This is summery. You did good.
Okay,
Fig is
okay.
a little fall. So
Okay.
you're in season. A little mustard. This will be great with the meat.
It said whole grain mustard, and I was like, coarse.
I love that we sent you to do this job, but you nailed it. And this makes it more fun. Okay, we have the triple cream. This is so good with crackers. I mean, that with a little bit of cherry spread or fig jam, whatever you
Okay.
want. So good. And then a little piece of prosciutto on
So
top.
it's brie, is that right?
Yes, triple
Yeah.
cream brie.
Man, I love that.
We have some goat cheese.
Okay.
Okay, I have a question about the brie. Do you eat the stuff on the outside?
You know, I do.
Don't laugh at me.
a funny question.
I mean, but
A lot
I'm
of-
always like, I feel like I am always like all about it and eat it, and then
I
like
do.
everyone else is like carving out, and I'm like,
it's definitely
supposed to
edible.
eat that?
It's totally
Okay,
edible.
okay.
You can
Especially
eat
if
it.
it's the
As
only
far
thing
as I know,
left.
it's edible. I've been eating
Right.
it for years.
Don't
Okay,
go
we
for that
also
first.
have a chili pepper Gouda, which I love the sound of this. I love spicy things. So Gouda
So,
cheese,
you know,
chili
why
pepper.
I got that. I got
Oh,
that
sorry, I'm
because
not passing to you.
I have the
I will open
OCD,
it.
and I was like, we have too much white
I
stuff.
have the OCD.
The OC I have
It's
the
like a
OCD.
Do you
disease.
have like a knife to cut anything?
We will need one.
We
I'll
will
go
need
grab
one. So the
Things
reason
are going to get interesting. in
So
here.
the-
know.
I know,
Might be
and
hard
I
to
meant
make
to.
it
Okay.
beautiful.
I meant to make.
This is one of my favorite things. This is a seaside cheddar. It's very similar to like the unexpected cheddar that I think that you can get at Trader Joe's. It's really, it has like a salt crystallization in it. And it's just like people will eat it and they'll be like, ooh, what kind of cheese is this?
Yeah.
Every time without fail.
Okay.
We've got some grapes, any sort of fruit to kind of,
Dress it up.
yeah, and just fill in the gaps of your meats and cheeses is always
Okay.
good. You could use strawberries, you could use figs, you could use anything that's in season. Grapes are always a good choice because everybody likes them
Okay.
and they're easy to throw on there. We've got some green olives stuffed with garlic. Yum.
Yeah, I don't.
I feel like I'm in like
I mean, again,
some fun
I
like,
went
little
with
show
I
right
know.
now.
I went with a list, and I was like just throwing shit in the cart. I was
Okay,
like,
we
okay.
also have some manchego cheese.
I love
Manchego is
cheese.
definitely one of the top
I love
faves
manchego.
of mine. Okay, and then we have an ice pack. So we are down
Yes,
to the bottom.
and
Oh, truffle Marcona almonds. If you haven't gotten any
they're
of these yet,
so
good. And Trader Joe's has them as well. Or
Yeah.
they have rosemary ones if it's like holiday season, but the truffle ones are
and then
by far
just
the
some
best.
plain crackers.
crackers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay, so my question to you is like, how do we? So
Start?
we have all the ingredients. So and
Okay.
I feel like I can do all this. Like I might have got. I probably would have gotten all of this stuff except for the mustard and the cherry spread.
I think it's good to have some condiments.
Knife.
Don't be alarmed.
This is getting
dang it,
really rowdy over here.
I have two options and they're on both ends of the spectrum. I've got plastic and I've got a big old like.
You know what? We're going to use them both because this is where we're going with it.
I really get caught in a situation
you do.
and you have to make it work.
Yeah.
I really meant to bring my
What happens in the wild.
Yes, exactly.
You get a pocket knife out and you make a cheese board.
Right.
Okay. So let's
on
open
a podcast.
this. Get this out. Yeah.
So my whole thing is, like I said, I would have picked all the ingredients basically that you said, with the exception of maybe the mustard and the spread. But I don't ever know how to make it look so pretty. And I feel like
so I think
many
you
people make
start
it
with
so
either the cheese or the meat. We're going to start with the meat today because it's easier. We don't have to cut it. Now, do not be the person to set the freaking meat on the freaking...
Like just like that.
Like, just like that.
Lay it out.
This is my biggest pet peeve.
Okay.
So this is why people don't invite me to dinner parties.
I was just about to say, this is why I'm not going to...
So because we have a lot of different shapes, we can kind of like roll this up like this.
Okay. So
do a
just
little
like,
tube.
okay.
Or you can fold it like so and kind of make it a little quarter.
Okay.
Just to fluff it a little bit and make
Okay.
it look a little bit more appetizing.
There's no, flatlander.
No laying things flat. So we're just going to kind of fluff.
So do you keep each thing in its own section?
I do, but we're going to see. I might move things around. Let's just see
Jules,
where
I think we have a couple more to
see where
open
this
over
goes.
Here. Yes,
She
you are
is.
the
She's
sous
my
chef.
pocket
Do you
knife.
need your pocket knife?
The rowdy
I don't
sous
think
chef.
okay.
Okay. Now we have, so that was what did we just use? That was the Capicolo. And now we're going to use the prosciutto.
Okay.
My hands are going to be so greasy. We're going to definitely need that napkin.
Yeah.
Right there.
Okay. And I'll help you with this too. I'm going to practice myself.
Okay.
So
take a
prosciutto's so
prosciutto.
thin.
So you can either just kind of, people don't need a whole piece. Just kind of tear it in half.
Okay.
And then again, let's pick another side for it. I'm trying to use the mic and fluff.
Okay.
And
we're
do
setting
little,
up obstacles for you.
little
Let's see
pieces,
how
yeah.
good she is.
Yes.
Let's put a mic in her face.
Where's
Give
the
her a pocket
flaming
knife.
hula hoops that I'm
See what
jumping
she can
through?
do.
I'm ready to jump through
Thanks
some
for going
hoops.
with the flow.
Hey, I think this is fun.
I know.
Whenever Katie told me that y'all were going to do this, I was like, hey, this is exciting.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, and I told you before we started, this will be the most unrefined thing you've probably ever done in your
it.
career.
Unrefined dish. over here.
Unrefined dish. Yes.
Okay, so we're fluffing prosciutto now. Again, don't just lay it on the board. Fluff
Which
it.
is totally what I've done in the past. Not in a big clump.
I can't
I
tell
at least
you
separate it, but then I'm like, plop,
how many
plop,
times
plop.
I've gone to somebody's houses and it's just everything in my body
just in
not
the
to
row.
just fluff it.
I know. Let me fluff this for you.
Okay, so with the salami, we're gonna remove it from its stack, but we're gonna kind of lay it still flat. We don't need to fold it or roll it
Okay.
because we've
Okay.
got
Because these are
folded
harder,
and rolled
right?
other items right now.
Okay.
I wipe my prosciutto fingers.
Very excited for all
okay.
this cheese.
So we've got, you're doing good. I like your style. Now the other thing that we're gonna need is these drained.
Okay. I'm on it.
You're in charge of that
Okay.
roll. Okay, so now we're gonna go on to our cheeses and break them up. So obviously this triple cream, we can't really break up because it's just so creamy. People are gonna eat that with a knife. So I'm gonna have to put that on there whole.
Okay.
So we know that's gonna go on there somewhere. Right now we're gonna set it there.
Okay.
But the rest we can slice and cut up in different ways. Where's my pocket knife?
Your pocket knife.
Did we lose it? Did she just take it to go open that? She totally took it to
That'd
open
be
that.
weird if
That's
she
okay.
did.
I think
had
she
to
did.
go armed.
I'm going to use the plastic knife and I'm going to take this chili Gouda.
Okay.
And I'm just going to
Gouda.
kind of, you know what? We're going to get a little bit rogue here. We're going to just break it up into pieces, little bite-sized pieces so it looks a
Oh.
little rustic.
Okay. Why not? So
And-
how many different cheeses? You have 4 different cheeses. Is that
Yeah, she
or
really
5?
came with a lot of cheese.
Yeah.
It's extra
It's like
cheesy
for
today.
a big event.
Yes. What are we going to do with all this? We're going to just sit around and drink this
We
wine
are.
and eat all this
Yep.
cheese.
We
I'm
could be
down
here,
with that.
We could be here all night. Tell your husband you're still on the podcast. You just take care of the kids.
I'm just still eating meat and cheese.
Exactly.
Okay, so I'm just kind of breaking this one up into more rustic ways.
Okay.
Because why not? We're here. We're
I
getting
love that. And it
a
looks
little
good when
rogue.
you do that.
Yeah.
Everything you do looks good.
and you can eat it with.
She's magic. That's awesome.
Kind of stack it. The key is to like trying hard, but like not trying too hard.
Exactly. Did you run away with the big old knife, Em? I did. Just in case you ran into somebody in the hallway.
I think the worst thing to do with meat and cheese boards, well, actually, it's not the worst thing to do. It's not a bad idea. Is like look at a picture and try to recreate it exactly. Mm-hmm. It's just like you just kind of got to take your platter and work around it and
do your own thing.
Look at your olives.
I got olives.
I love it. Okay, so we'll put that over there.
Okay.
Here.
Did you taste that?
No, I haven't yet, but do we need to?
The pepper Gouda?
Uh-huh.
I just got it because I didn't want too much white.
That was smart. Look at you.
You're
so creative.
It's not bad.
Okay, can I have that pocket knife?
Yes.
I never thought I'd be asking for a pocket knife on a podcast.
Things that you thought you'd never say.
This could be a really interesting carving of the manchego cheese. It's going to be not ideal.
Okay, let me do this.
Okay,
I will do this.
So what I want you to do is like slice. It's okay. I got this.
Okay.
We're just going to kind of.
She's a pro.
So you just want to get it started, basically.
Yeah, and just kind of shave it off. Usually you could do more like actual triangle slices, but today we're
Working with
a little bit
knife.
rustic.
Rustic. That's a good word for it.
Yeah, it is. It still looks good. I'm not complaining.
Okay. So how do you know like which cheese to shave and which cheese to
Well, I think the thing is
leave?
like, okay, if someone was at your party trying to cut this manchego cheese, it's like just a little bit much for
So
them.
that's right. Something you can just do ahead
Whereas
of
the
it.
triple cream, they can easily just take a butter knife and put it on their cracker. Whereas these things, you're making it easily accessible to them.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because the manchego's stiffer or
It's very stiff.
Yeah.
I mean, this pocket knife is like, needs to be sharpened.
oh jeez, the pocket knife.
This is fantastic.
I did have it on my list and I totally forgot.
Love it.
Pocket knife.
Okay, so we're going to just kind of keep this. This is called the rustic board of your dreams.
Okay.
The rustic
can
board of your
trash
dreams.
that.
Yes.
Put it in the cookbook.
Yeah.
Yes, the rustic board of your dream.
We're just going to kind of keep shaving this off so we have plenty. This is a big board too. It's beautiful, by the way.
It is a big one.
And you're getting a workout.
Yeah. And while you asked earlier about the rind on the this guy,
Yes.
this is edible. I would not necessarily eat the manchego rind. I don't think it'll hurt you. But
Just bad form. Good to
yeah,
know.
I just like don't think that would be the most delicious
Right in
option.
the chick that's eating everything whole off the board at the party.
Noted. Noted.
Yeah. Note to self: manchego rinds are not the tastiest. They're hard. It's a harder cheese though. Okay, so I think we got enough manchego. We might need more.
Okay,
let's set
put
it
it right
aside. Okay, what else are we gonna do here?
We have the
We have-
mustard.
this is the
The seaside cheddar.
the delicious seaside cheddar. This one I would definitely cube up into smaller cubes. And again, it kind of breaks apart. We're going with the rustic look
Again. Yes.
again.
So are you like really good at slicing? I feel like that's something I still haven't really figured out.
I'm really good at
As far as
slicing.
like how to
Slicing and
slice
dicing.
certain
Minus
vegetables.
with a pocket knife, I'm okay at it.
Right. But like with onions, apparently there's a trick and onions already
yeah.
I still haven't even learned all of that. I try.
It's okay that you don't know all that. And it's, that's like another, I mean, I chop all the time, so I've gotten good at it, but I don't have any culinary training. I'm a home cook,
kinda taught
self-trained
yourself. Yeah.
/ watched a lot of videos.
Do you have one of
and-
those chopper things? Or you just chop with a knife, like a really good knife?
What kind of chopper thing you talking
There was
about?
there was this thing we had it when I was.
Oh, was it the Pampered Chef one where you like put it in the thing
Put it
and,
under
like,
there and then, like,
bounce,
chop-
bounce,
yeah,
bounce?
yes.
Yeah, those are awesome. My mom definitely had one of those growing up. I don't use one of those because I just don't think it chops the way I want it to.
Yeah.
But hey, using
Whatever
that
it
is
takes.
actually, whatever it takes to cook in the kitchen is good with me.
It's my motto in life.
Yeah,
Whatever it takes.
whatever it takes. Okay, we're going to do that there. Let's kind of put, so we've got, I think the way that you do it is you kind of deconstruct your board. You start with the meats, then you go with the cheeses, and you just kind of start popping them down and spreading them out so they're not just like right up next to each other. And then from there, you can take these other ingredients to make it pretty.
Okay, so a chunk of crackers.
You can put crackers there. We might put crackers in another place soon. This is a great opportunity to use your fruit, whatever fruit
And what
you
is that? I
choose.
miss? Is that grapes?
Yeah.
These are
Okay,
grapes.
couldn't tell if it's grape or cherry.
The grapes.
Only one cherry thing.
And this always kind of helps break up the board to where
This looks awesome already.
I know.
Yeah, see, once the crackers and the fruit go on, and it's just like, don't try to do like a meat and then a fruit and then a meat and then a cheese. And like,
That's where I have the problem.
Put the meat down, spread it out so that it's not touching. Put the cheese down, spread it out so they're kind of, let's see where I want to put this one. This guy can go here.
It's already so pretty.
Yeah. And then from there, you can kind of manipulate it and move it around to make it look as pretty as possible.
Yeah, it is.
See, this is
Love
a really
it.
good way to show that even with a pocket knife,
Exactly.
With a pocket knife.
you can make a beautiful cheese board.
Man, with a pocket
and then-
knife on a podcast.
We'll wait for these for a second. Just put my hands in it. I need this napkin again. There's some goat cheese here. And so the goat cheese would be a fun opportunity to, let's do something a little bit different here. I'm going to show you. I want this creamy cheese there. I'm going to kind of scoot that there. We can move those crackers. No, I want those to break up the cheese. We have so much cheese. But the goat cheese is a great opportunity to put the cherry spread on top of to change it up a little bit. You can either put some herb or like any sort of spread on it.
You put it on it?
Yeah, you can gussy it up.
That's fancy. I always thought it like came together.
Let's use this
You
knife.
can buy it together, can't you?
I think so.
But it's better if you don't.
Yeah, but like,
That's easy. Look how easy that is.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then, and any sort of like sauce would be great on top of this. Any sort
You know
of
what's
jam
good
or
on
jelly.
goat cheese is that like a jalapeno jelly.
Oh my gosh, so good. The
So
habanero
good.
kind.
Yes.
Delicious.
So good.
Love goat cheese.
So we can do a little bit of that to kind of shake things up a little bit. She looks a little scary right now, but we're going to gussy her up with some Marcona almonds and kind of spread her out.
Okay.
Love it.
So then we got
Some
the
filler.
almonds.
Some filler, more filler. I think that's a good spot for them.
And then olives.
Oh yeah, we forgot about our olives. I forgot about ours, not we. You remember
I
them.
went and drained them, and I ate like 3 on my way back here.
Good call.
Yeah.
Garlic breath.
Always.
Garlic stuffed olives. And this will add some greenery. And fresh herbs kind of add greenery. You don't eat them. I mean, if someone did, that'd be kind of weird.
Like what? Like rosemary or
If you had a sprig of rosemary and someone just gnawing on it, that would be fantastic.
Something I would do. Especially if it's all that's left.
I mean, it's on the board.
You're
You
eating
think
like
you
the
can eat it.
manchego rind and the rosemary. This is so awesome.
Okay, and then lastly, I mean, the mustard. I would want the mustard with this guy over here. So just to I kind of like to plot where things are laid out so that people know what kind of goes with what.
And which one was that? You said this guy?
This is the salami.
The salami. Okay.
Kind
And you
a
just
little
put it on
dollop
there.
of
Oh my
mustard
gosh,
right
this
there.
looks amazing.
It's so pretty.
Can we show it somehow?
Yeah, let's try
And
to
you
show
just
it.
did this. I'll do it.
As long as she's
It
done.
really turned out
It looks amazing.
a lot better than I thought. I was a little bit scared for a second there. But
Understandable.
this is a very rustic board in like the best way. I love it. It really kind of goes with the vibe of the board in a beautiful way.
You're right,
'Cause
it
It's such a
does.
fun board. So we've got a beautiful board that we're going to eat whenever we're done with this.
Yes, we are. The board, of course, courtesy of
And
Urban Tree
me with-
Merchants.
I'm
And
never
look,
going to
it looks
forget.
beautiful.
I'm never going to forget this podcast, you guys, because of this moment.
Because of the pocket knife.
What?
God bless us.
I need a picture with this.
God bless us. Yes. Cheese. And get one in front of it with the board in front of it, like so we can see the board. Sorry for all of you listening that we're just pausing to take pictures of. Hey now.
But it's like, I mean, that's a gorgeous board.
It
I
is
mean, if you
beautiful.
can make a gorgeous board with a pocket knife, you're in business.
We
I
trust you.
am.
It
So
does look
again,
gorgeous.
deconstruct it. Start with one, and then just kind of fill in the gaps with all the beautiful, fluffy things.
Well, it's gorgeous.
I love it.
Yeah,
I'm so impressed. I feel like we've learned a lot.
I'm impressed with myself. I learned a lot today.
I wish I-
about myself.
You can make anything
What
work.
you can
never
do-
know
I'm
what
going to
you're
be on the next like wild show that's
Yeah.
like out in the wild.
Yeah.
I know.
Except for I'll make a
And
cheese
next
board
time
on it.
Clayton tells you to go on a show, you're going to say no.
You're going to bring your own knives to every podcast you go to after
Good
this.
advice, dude.
Hilarious.
These chicks were
Thanks,
freaking
man.
crazy.
That was fun. That was fun.
No, I love it. I love
So
it. It's
fun.
a gorgeous board. I feel like we learned a lot. So how can people follow you?
Find you, get your
Yes.
cookbook, all the things.
The Defined Dish, pretty straight up on every social media platform. Not on TikTok yet, but we'll see.
It's we've been talking about TikTok. We were going to make like a mom video.
That's for another podcast episode.
I know, exactly.
But I'm open to whatever. So I'm on Instagram at The Defined Dish. I'm on Facebook, The Defined Dish. I have a blog, thedefineddish.com, and my cookbook is called The Defined Dish. So you can
Love
find
it.
me everywhere.
Easy
just by
enough.
searching that.
This has been
Yes.
so much
I
fun.
know.
Thank you so much
Thank you for having
coming
me.
on.
It was so fun.
Like I said, I thought you were a long shot, so I appreciate you.
I know.
Yeah.
We were so
Yeah, and
excited.
look at all
Y'all
the
are
fun that we've had.
fantastic.
This has
is
been
great.
amazing. We're going to go eat.
Yes, let's go eat. Well,
Drink.
cheers. And then we always end every show with the peace sign and the mom game out. So cheers. Cheers. Oh, that was loud.
Yeah, woo!
And mom game out.
Out.